We're going to start off with how to write a matrix, and then eventually we're going to use the matrices to help us solve a system of equations like we've been doing the last couple of days. So if I start off with one like this, 14x plus 7y equals 6, 7x plus 6y equals 8. We are going to put this in what we call a 2 by 3 matrix. It's called an augmented matrix. They're going to use the term augmented, which means we're going to put all of that together. We're not going to put the plus signs or the equal signs or anything like that. We're just going to put the coefficients, the numbers, into a matrix. And what that's going to look like is pretty straightforward. I always put like a dashed line here to kind of show where the equal signs are. You won't see that in your actual matrix itself, but when I write it out, I like to show that just so I know the numbers on the other side are my constants. And that's what we call a 2 by 3 augmented matrix. Okay. Pretty straightforward. And we're going to use that today to solve as well. What you always want to make sure of, most of them are going to be written in this format, kind of like what we've seen the last couple of days. But if it's not, we always want to make sure x's and then y's and then the constant. So if we have to do any moving around of variables or any of those things, then you would want to do that first before you write your matrix out. Another one, we haven't seen this yet, so this will be something a little bit new. This is a 3 variable equation. And I'm not going to show you right now how to solve this by hand, okay? Just because we can do this much easier on our technology. And so I'm going to show you what this would look like if we were to solve this in just a little bit using our calculator. But if I were to write out the equations, morning. Thank you. So like we said, we haven't solved one of these by hand, and I'm not going to really show you how to solve it by hand, so that's kind of why we waited till today to see this. We're only going to use our calculator to solve this, but what we've added here is another variable to the mix. So when we add another variable to the mix, we got the z here, then we're also going to add a third equation. So when we add the third variable, we also add the third equation. So now my matrix is going to be a little bit bigger. This is going to be a 3 by 4 matrix. And all this means, the 3 by 4, just means there's 3 rows and 4 columns. Okay, so it's always rows by columns when we name it. And we're just going to put all of our coefficients down. If this does not have a coefficient, then we know that would be assumed to be a 1. And that would be our equation, or our matrix, sorry, for the equations. Okay, so that's really the first part today, is being able to write the matrix out, because we're going to input this into our calculator, and we're going to use that matrix to help us to solve it. And there's going to be a specific way that we're going to go about solving that out. Okay, so I'm not going to show you how to do this by hand, okay, and do it step by step. We're going to do a kind of a shortcut way of solving this out. So I'm going to give you an equation here, kind of like we've done the last couple of days. X plus 2y equals -7. 2x minus 4y equals +2. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to put this into matrix. Okay, so we're going to go to our calculator, and you've probably done this process before. I'm just going to kind of walk you through it. I'm going to type it in as you guys type it in. So on your TI calculators, most of your matrix buttons is right above the X to the -1 button. So you have to hit second to get there. So I'm going to hit second, and then I hit the X to the -1 button, because right above it, it says matrix. So we want to get to our matrix, okay? So if I do that, I have 3 options across the top. I have names, math, and edit. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to edit. And you have a whole list of them there, A all the way down to however many you want to do. I'm going to put mine into A. You can put it in whatever one you want. So we're going to hit enter next to A. This is a 2x3. So we're going to enter 2x3. And we're going to type these numbers in to our matrix. Okay, and we want to get out of that screen then. So after you've typed in that matrix, we're going to hit second quit. Quit's right above mode. So second quit. That takes you back to your home screen. And then we're going to go back to matrix. So we're going to go second matrix. We're going to go over to math. And we're going to go all the way down to where it says RREF. And you're going to hit enter. Okay, and then we're going to go back to matrix one more time. So we're going to go second matrix. And we want to put in whatever matrix we entered it in. So I'm going to put matrix A. Under names, just hit enter. And it should say RREF of matrix A. You don't necessarily have to close the parenthesis off because there's nothing that happens after that. So I closed mine off, but you'd be okay not to do that. And then you're going to hit enter. Okay, and what you get here is a new matrix that looks like this. Okay, well, what does that mean, right? Well, here's what it means. This over here is what all your matrices are going to look like when we do this. This is what we call reduced row echelon form. I'm not going to ask you to know that name, but that's where the RREF comes from. It's just the name of the thing that we're doing to the matrix, okay? And it is always gonna look like this, 1, 0, 0, 1. We have ones diagonally and we have zeros in everything else. This over here is representing my X and my Y. So my ordered pair would be -3, -2, just like we've done the last couple of days, okay? We don't have to do graphing, we don't have to do substitution, we don't have to do elimination. If I wanted to find the solution to this system, we've now used matrices to do that. Okay. You could take that ordered pair and you could plug it in just like we've done the last couple of days, and make sure that it works, but it should work, okay? Like for instance, -3 plus 2 times -2 is -4, -3 plus -4 is -7. It works. I could plug it into the second equation too, and it should work. Okay, everybody okay, calculator-wise? Everybody able to do that? Do you kind of remember that from Algebra 2, doing that, matrices? Yeah, we've done that before. All right, so that's a 2 by 3, or sorry, a 2 by 3 with 2 variables that we're solving. Next one we're going to do is a 3 variable equation. Okay, this one is adding another variable to the mix. So this is like what we talked about at the beginning of the lesson today. This is going to be a 3 by 4 matrix. Really watch your signs here. Like for instance here, this is -y, so we treat this as like a -1. We treat this one as a +1. So that's kind of a big deal. Because if I don't put all the numbers in correctly with the correct sign, then it's going to give me something a little bit different. So there's my matrix. This one's a 3 by 4. So we're going to go through the exact same process that we just did, except this time when we edit it, we're going to put it in as a 3 by 4. We're going to put in all those numbers, and then we'll still go through the process the same way. So try putting this one in. I'll do it as you guys do it, and let's see what we get. You can put it back into A, you can put it into B, you can put it into whatever matrix you want. Does anybody need help with calculator? Casio's, I know I haven't really talked. Are you okay with Casio?
Yeah.
We're gonna do it. Okay. Casios are just slightly different, but they still do the same thing. Okay. Everybody get that? 2, -3, 1? Not too bad, right? Hopefully. All right, the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a story problem, okay? And we can do this for 2 variables or 3 variables. So I'm going to do one from the book here, and you don't necessarily have to, I mean, if you have your book out, you can get it out. But I'm just going to kind of go through the story problem real quick. We'll talk about how to set up the equation, and then we're going to use matrices to solve it. So Brad is purchasing 3 chicken sandwiches and 2 drinks for $12.90. So in this case, what we have to decide is what are my variables. And we're trying to figure out what is the cost of a chicken sandwich and what is the cost of a drink. And so he purchased 3 chicken sandwiches, so 3 X's, and 2 drinks is $12.90. Another person purchased 7 chicken sandwiches and 4 drinks, and that cost $29.30. What we want to figure out is what is the cost of each of the items, chicken sandwich and a drink. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put this into a matrix. And then we're going to put it into our calculator and solve it. So the question is asking what is the cost of 1 chicken sandwich and 1 drink, and that's what your order pair is telling you. Each chicken sandwich costs $3.50, each drink is $1.20, and that would be our order pair. That's what the order pairs represent. So not any different solving it, but the hard part is getting the equation written out, and I wouldn't necessarily say that's a hard part. If there was a third variable, like a z, then it would just be like a third item. Maybe in this case, maybe there's some fries added in, or another type of sandwich, like a hamburger or something like that. I don't know. But that it would be a third item, and you would buy so many of that third item, and then that would add up and make your z value. Okay, that's pretty much all we got today. Pretty straightforward because we're using the calculator. Here's what I will tell you is, on the quiz next week, we will have problems where you will still have to do graphing, you'll have to do substitution, you'll have to do elimination, but there will be ones where you can definitely use your calculator as well, okay? Can I always check my answer by using my calculator? No doubt about it, right? But on the ones where we're doing like substitution, elimination, and things like that, I am gonna look for work to show that you've done it by those specific methods. And on those methods, then we will do, I'll give you ones that are easy to solve by those particular methods, okay? All right, here's our assignment for today. On that first group of problems, 8 to 14, all you're doing is writing the matrix. You don't have to solve it or anything like that, okay? So just write the matrix and you're done. So those are pretty easy. Starting with 34, this is where we start to solve. You have a couple of 2 variables, you have a couple of 3 variables, and then the last couple problems are some story problems. Okay, one thing